was only until I started to bring it up and realise this is what's going on.
Calling them out on that
that things escalated.
Okay, sorry, like I think this question is a bit complicated.
So you just are asking out of concern, safety for your partner. Where are they going? Because you have their safety at heart, as opposed to trying to work out what they're doing and what they're up to.
Today we are discussing about controlling behavior. In our previous episode, we have discussed about controlling behavior in our relationship, in our marriage. But today we decided to bring some guests in to discuss about this, how controlling behavior affect our relationship, how controlling behavior affect our marriage. Today we have a special guest that will be with us to elaborate on this different issue. Please sit to. Thank you. Welcome to R&G Specialist Support Service. Today we have our special guest that will be discussing with us. We have discussed about our controlling behavior in our previous episode. So we have a special guest that came in here today to assist us to elaborate on those issues. So we have with us today Susie.
Thank you very much, Garby and Rosina, for inviting me in today to discuss the topic. My name is Susie. I'm a practitioner in care and family services. I have a social science background, but I have been working in the industry for around 4 years.
Thank you, viewer, for watching. As you all know, we are big on this topic about controlling behavior in our relationship, in our marriage. And today we're so happy to have a special guest that we're going to be asking special questions. So those questions has different, those questions goes that how our guests think about those questions. So you also as a viewer, you have your own opinion, you can also drop your opinion on the comment section when you are watching from. Thank you very much. And our first question today is how I'd say identify controlling behavior in our relationship. Say what are the signs that our relationship being controlled. So what are those signs that our relationship being controlled? So Susan, I will come to you first.
Sure. It can look like manipulation. So manipulation tactics, trying to have your partner think or feel a certain way. The gaslighting behavior, I guess, can look like when your partner points out or says, hey, when you do that, this is how it makes me feel. You say, well, no, that's not what I was trying to do.
I think there's a lot of things that can look like controlling behaviour. It can be the smallest things as to, where are you going? What are you doing? What's on your phone? Who have you been talking to? Having to give timelines as to your every move and what you're doing. Gaslighting is one that's very out there too at the moment. And I find part of that gaslighting can be things like saying how you feel and then having your partner saying, well, when you do that, I feel that way too. Coming back with exactly the same thing, but putting their own spin on it.
Yep.
For me, I think I am very much an individual and I like having my individuality with my own things, such as my phone, my diary. Whilst I have a partner, I still believe that I'm an individual person.
Respect each other for that individuality.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks. And in aspect of that, did you also think can this behavior do you think is be protective or something? Is that the reason why people escalate?
So are you asking me if controlling is the same as being protective over somebody?
Yeah.
No, I think they're two totally different things. Yeah. I guess some people can probably try and put the spin on it that being protective is being controlling. But in saying that, they probably are being controlling. In saying that, they're being protective.
Yeah.
Because they're two totally different things.
So being protective with your partner and also being controlling, like you said, both are different. So, like, can you actually elaborate on both of them? Like, how do you think is different?
Well, I think protection comes from a place of love, trust,
Concern.
concerns for someone, Susie, that's right. Control comes from a totally different place. Controlling is very manipulating. Having to assert your authority on someone else. Two totally different things.
Thank you very much. Viewer, I think you guys are watching, like, hey, this is a great topic. Like, you guys just have your own opinion to voice out, like, we have a special guest here and also have people that have an experience, This is our opinion about this topic. So we are sharing our opinion. You out there also have your own opinion about this topic. Thank you, viewer, for watching. So, Susie, coming back to you with this question I just asked Rose. So, what do you think about those two questions? The difference?
I agree with all that Rose said, but I would also just like to elaborate and say, when your partner is asking you questions such as, where are you going? What are you doing? Why are you wearing that? It's trying to get and question your motive as well. So if you're saying to your partner, I'm going here and, I'm going out to have fun, well, why are you doing that? Is it saying it's, I guess, delving deeper and trying to break that person down and questioning their motives, which I think that's where the control sort of element comes into it.
I think for my own opinion, like, I thought, like, if maybe my partner is going out, like, I may ask, like, where are you going? Like, I just want to know, like, to be assured, like, oh, where is it going? Like, maybe if she doesn't come back, I was like, oh, he went to somewhere, like, I can actually track her. You know what I mean? But,
Certainly.
Like, to me, like, I don't actually think that should be controlling behavior, like, like, it's just because you want to know, like, oh, where you are going, you want to know what you are doing, like, so I'll make myself as an example, just like, oh, maybe my partner is going out, I may just say, oh, where are you going? Like, not like I'm checking up on her, you know what I mean?
There is your difference between protective and controlling.
Yes.
So you just are asking out of concern or safety for your partner, where are they going? Because you have their safety at heart, as opposed to trying to work out what they're doing and what they're up to. And
So, Susie, I'm hearing that not only Garvey is saying, where are you going? His next question was, what are you doing? Which is going to where you were just saying.
The next
stepping
step,
over that.
the boundary.
So, where are you going today? I'll tell you where I'm going. What are you doing? Like, I'm kind of starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable. Like, why are you wanting to know what I'm doing? I've told you where I'm going.
Yeah.
Now you're wanting to know, what are you doing, Rosina?
It could also, just playing devil's advocate, be a little bit of curiosity and natural curiosity with what your partner's doing. Because I know with my partner, what are you up to?
Yep.
And it's a matter of, I just want to know what you're up to, not why.
So
are
is
you
there
doing
another
that?
question after that?
Actually, I don't actually think so. I think it depends on every individual, like, I think what I would do where are you going? I'm going to do one, maybe A or B, C or whatever, like, we just end it there, you know what I mean?
Okay.
When you started to ask, oh, who are you with? What are you doing? Like, I think for me, like, you try to control that person, like, you try to question that person. So, yeah, thank you very much, Rose and Susie. That was a nice, good answer to those questions. We are moving to the next part of this segment, which is understanding the impact of controlling behavior. How do controlling behavior affect our relationship? And I'll go with you, Susie, first.
Yeah, so Look, I feel like if it's something that happens often and it becomes an issue, it can certainly take away your element of autonomy in a relationship. You don't feel like you have your own space. You don't feel like your partner trusts you. You start to feel like they're questioning what you're up to, and I think that certainly would have an emotional impact in a lot of ways on your mental health and your well-being in the relationship.
Rose, do you want to elaborate on that, please?
Look, I think if you are in a controlling relationship, I guess it can have a lot of impact in different ways. Your self-esteem is probably a big one for me. If someone's trying to control me, it would definitely break down my self-esteem. It would affect me mentally. Probably as well as physically too, because if I was being controlled, it would be the stress, and it would lead to me not being as physical probably as I am. I think there are multiple ways that it would affect. It also affects that relationship itself, I guess, the trust, the boundaries, just the love and affection. I think it would, create a lot of issues.
That is a great answer. Thank you very much. So what are the long-term consequences for both partners for controlling behavior? Rose, I will go with you first. Thanks.
Oh, look, I'd probably think probably a very miserable relationship, to be honest. A relationship where there's no trust. I guess even thinking about the controlling behaviours could lead to something like, physical, mental abuse. It would be a very sad place to be in, for sure.
Do you have any input?
I certainly think if it's something that you can't address and establish boundaries and healthy communication in the relationship, it's definitely a one-way track to, I guess, like a cycle where it would just turn to dysfunctional, sort of dynamic between the two partners, and it would erode, a sense of security and trust and everything good that should be in a relationship. It would not be a long-term thing. I would not imagine would turn out well over the long term.
Wow. Yep. Thank you, guys. That is a very good answer to my question. Viewer, as I said earlier, we all have our own opinion. We are allowed to voice out our opinion. When you have your opinion there about this topic, you can drop it on the comment section. We'll respond to it because every individual is different. So we'll move to our next question, which is responding to controlling behavior. So I will go first. My first question is that how should I address controlling behavior in our relationship? Susie, I will go there first with you.
Well, I think we sort of touched on that just prior. I feel like it's about establishing some boundaries, having healthy and open and consistent communication. Establishing those boundaries with your partner if you're feeling like you are being controlled and it's starting to affect you. Addressing that and then seeing how the partner reacts. So that would be another.
So you mean like communication is important.
Absolutely.
With that.
Telling your partner how you feel. Being very specific about what that controlling behaviour looks like and how it makes you feel as the receiving partner. And seeing how that lands. When you do actually address that, how's your partner taken that? Are they willing to address the behaviour and the concerns, your concerns? I
think in most cases, most people, in my research, most people that being controlling towards women or whatever men, like they don't listen. They don't want to listen to you. They think they're always right. You know what I mean? Like, you know, they think, oh, what I'm doing is right. I'm not doing the wrong thing. You know, like they always think they're always right. You know. So yeah, Rose, like, what do you also think about what Susie just said?
Gee, how should I address controlling behaviour? Personally, I would have to say that I myself have been in a relationship like this. And I think the more I addressed it, the worse things got. That's not me, you know, that's you. I don't do this. So eventually we moved into getting a third party involved. So we ended up going to counselling to try and address this situation. And when we spoke about it in counselling, we were asked to go away and think about it ourselves, you know, individually, and not address it with each other. And then come back, you know, Susie, we could never do that. And it wasn't long after that I decided to leave the relationship because the more I tried to address it, the more they backed up and said, it's not me, it's you.
There you go.
I
That's
think,
the gaslighting.
I think that goes to.
So, and before then, there was no gaslighting, and it was only until I started to bring it up and realise this is what's going on.
Calling
that
them out
things,
on that
that
behaviour.
things escalated,
Yeah.
you know. And I must say, we actually even got to a point where I was hit. So that was the end of that relationship. I decided to walk. Yeah. Yeah.
I think viewer, we like, to be honest with you, I think when we are saying controlling behavior, I'm saying this like controlling behavior leads to domestic violence. I would, like, in my own research, I would say about 65% of controlling behavior lead to domestic violence in our society. Because if those issue is not tackled, like, you know, you never did with those issue, you know, it will escalate to the next level, you know, with your own experience and everything, you know, like, if those issues, when it comes up, you know, like the more you address it with love, kindness, you know, the more you resolve it. But most people, they don't listen. They think they're always right, you know.
Yeah, I think that was the way in my relationship, and I guess I stayed and I tried because I had a child. I didn't want to be that one to
extra layer of complexity.
It is, isn't it? So you kind of
That make you think, because you have a child there, you lock in, you know, like you'll be thinking, oh, do I have to leave this relationship because of your child or something?
Well, I think for me it was always, I don't want to be a single mother. That's never ever going to be me.
Yeah.
And you know, that was my mindset from when I was young. You know, that is never ever going to be me. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think with that, I always say to people, like, you know, when you got married, you know, you actually, you don't want to be a single mother. You want to be a happy married with your husband for the rest of your life, you know. But something happened, you know, there's some circumstances that happen that make you a single mother. But that is not our wish in our marriage, in our relationship, you know. So things happen, you know. Thank you, Rosina, for sharing that with us. I know you have answered this question, but I'll ask Susie this. You say, what can I do if our partner does not recognize or admit to being controlled, which is what you just said?
It's, I think, and we were discussing before, you know, if you can't address your concerns with your partner without it landing them, you know, on them and they start becoming defensive or trying to shut you down or trying to control the situation, I think it's time to get out of there. It's not going to change them if you can't actually communicate and have your partner listen to how it's impacting you. Then that's not going to change anything. So recognizing that early on, I think, is key, and actually not letting them gaslight you and control you into how it should be and what you should be thinking or feeling, or it's not you, this isn't me, it's you. And again, when there's children and there's additional layers there of complexity, that makes it very hard. But
you need to be physically and emotionally safe.
Yep.
Thank you very much for that question, for that answer. I mean, like it was actually a good answer to my question. I'll move to the next question, whereby it said, seeking help. When should I consider seeking professional help or counseling in our relationship? I'll go with you, though. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Wow. Look, I think I don't think there's really any point or time. I think saying to yourself that you need extra help or you just want someone to talk to is very, very healthy.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people can look at it the adverse way and think that they're weak if they seek help. But personally, I think that if you're seeking help, it's a very good thing. I don't think there's any really right time to seek help. You know, look, I mean, I've gone to counselling in the past just for myself, you know, to talk about things that I need to talk about. You can do that at the beginning of a relationship.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that there's really anything wrong with the relationship. You can do it for yourself within the relationship. I don't think there's any right or wrong time to seek counselling.
Yeah, thank you. Do you agree with
Look,
us?
I agree. Not a right or wrong way. I think it's when it's starting to affect and impact your sense of self, your sense of your sanity.
Yeah.
You know, and you start to feel unsafe and insecure in the relationship. I think it's when it's at that point, or even before it gets to that point. It's important to reach out, and there are plenty of resources available in the community to help, not just individual counselling, but there's certainly a lot of help available.
So regarding about those questions, do you think people resist to come out and speak forward about, you know, this situation on their relationship or marriage?
Certainly, yeah. Because again, it comes down to, you know, how much you've been controlled and the way your thoughts and feelings have been, you know, controlled in a relationship. So you do start to question, is it me? You know, and it has gotten to the point where, you know, your sense of self is so eroded in a lot of ways that you start to feel like you might not be worthy of the help, or, you know, that,
I think, most people like try to persist, like, oh, do I really need to come out, you know, like, you know, to speak up about what's going on, those things, you know? Rose, do you have any input for that?
No, not really. Just like I was saying, regardless of whether you're in a relationship or not, or whether you're being controlled or not, I just think sometimes it is very healthy for us to have an outsider sit and listen to us. You don't necessarily need anyone to talk back at you. Sometimes you just need to talk to someone that you can download things on. I just think it's a very healthy place, a very healthy mindset to have, to seek support.
And I think too, just on that, if you are in that space in the relationship where you are in an abusive and controlling, emotionally abusive and controlling relationship where, let's just say, there's no physical signs of abuse, you do start to question, you know, am I being abused? Am I in an abusive relationship? And it can be quite isolating if you don't have that soundboard and have that someone to help you put those thoughts and feelings into perspective. You are just sitting there on your own, questioning whether what you're going through is
questioning
real.
yourself. Thank you very much. That's really nice. I'll move to the next question, which is setting a boundary. Can I establish healthy boundary in our relationship? Those.
I certainly think you can. I think it needs to be done with love and trust, empathy and compassion for the other person, and with having open communication and healthy communication. Yeah.
Okay.
I think also to a person who is supportive, emotionally attuned and supportive, and willing to actually hear how things impact you, or willing to accept that you have boundaries.
Yeah.
And actually respect those boundaries. That's if you don't have that, then you cannot establish healthy boundaries with a person.
That's true. Yeah. Thank you very much for that question. I think this question will go to you, Susie. I know we have discussed this before. You have said that this is what an effective way to communicate my need and concern without escalating this situation. I know we have elaborated on this before. So, like this is another question. You say, what are effective ways to communicate my needs and concern?
So, again, just open communication, telling your partner, when this happens, this is how it impacts me, this is how it makes me feel. If that's not landing on them, without them trying to flip that back onto you, that's again that controlling aspect. If they're not willing to hear that and to take that on and to take accountability and acknowledge their behaviour as wrong, or something that they need to change, then that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
It's a red flag.
Red flag, yeah.
Yep.
So, Rosie, you also agree with Susie what she just
sure.
said? Yeah.
I also think that when you want to communicate your needs to someone, you need to be coming from a place of I, because I think once you sit down with someone and you say, when you do that to me, Susie, you're hurting me.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's those you statements.
Yeah. People get their back up. So I think that's really important to have at the back of your mind when you try and have an open conversation with someone, because if you're trying to open that conversation and you come in with a sentence like that, you just, I've got my back up. I'm not listening to what you've got to say to me now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Starting with making I statements.
That's right.
I statement,
I feel upset when you say,
This is how it impacts me.
Yep. That's probably the only thing that I would add to what you say. I think that is really, really important. And to be making sure that you're in a safe place where you can say what you need to say. That you don't have family around, children around. To put that time aside for yourselves to be able to have that communication. Yeah.
In a good way also, to approach it. Make it like a, let's go on a date night, or let's go somewhere and try and make it a little bit, like a fun sort of thing. But if you're in a good and healthy relationship, making that prioritising that time to communicate is also very important.
Thank you, viewer. Thank you, Sue, for you being here. So we have a good example about controlling behavior. I think, to me, I don't actually think it's controlling behavior, but I just want to show the question, what do you think about it? Do you think it's necessary or practicable for our partner checking our phones or social media, no or yes, and why? Susie.
Very hard no from me. No, I do not think it is necessary or practicable. I think that each partner as an individual is entitled to privacy. You're entitled to also know that your partner trusts you. I think that's healthy in a relationship to have that trust. If you need to be checking or feel like you need to be checking your partner's phone for whatever reason, there's something going on there. I think that's more to do with you as a person, as the person who wants to check the phone. No, absolute no from me.
I think you said privacy. You know,
Privacy.
when you got married, you are in a relationship, do you think partners should be having privacy for each other?
Yes, everyone's entitled to an element of privacy with their phone. Anyway, you've both got a phone, you're both individuals. There is it's not necessary to be checking. What are you checking for? Evidence? What are you looking for? I think that's the element of control and controlling behaviour. If you're going and checking.
Sorry, I think viewer, the reason why I'm asking this question, this question is very complicated. I think most people will also agree with me. Like me, in my own opinion, is when you say checking, actually it's not checking. I will put it in this way, is it practicable for your partner to have your password to your phone? That I should put it that way. Is it practicable for your partner to have your password to your phone?
I think so. I think that's perfectly okay. I have my partner's passcode. He has mine. He knows mine.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm cooking or I have something on my hands and I say, can you go check that on my phone? And, he knows the passcode to get in there and vice versa. There's trust. We have trust.
Yeah.
But we also respect each other's privacy and need for autonomy in a relationship.
Yeah. When you say privacy, can you elaborate on that? Privacy, you marry, you are in relationship, you are having privacy in your relationship or in your marriage. What does that mean, privacy? I don't know, why will you be having privacy in your marriage?
So again, it's about your autonomy.
Yeah.
Body, emotional. You are entitled as a human being, regardless if you're in a partnership or not, to autonomy in some way. Just because you're married or with a person does not mean that they're entitled to everything that is yours.
Yeah.
You deserve, as a human being, to have that privacy. It doesn't mean you're being secretive. That's a very different word. Privacy and secrecy are two different things. If you're being secretive, you've got something to hide. You're up to no good. Privacy is something very different.
We move further to the next question. Consider the future. How can you determine if the relationship is worth savings? I'll go with you, Susan.
I think if it's worth saving, I think that there has to be some sort of value you're getting out of that person. If that person is devaluing you in any way, then cut. It's time to move on. It's not worth saving.
Yeah.
For yourself, I think it's about your self-worth and self-respect.
Yeah.
Too. You deserve better. If you're not being heard and not being valued, then it's time to move on.
Thank you. Thank you very much. What steps should I take if I decided to end the relationship due to controlling behaviors?
I think it depends where it's at, how long things have been going on for, the level of maybe control that's happening. There's a lot of factors, but obviously there's a lot of community resources out there. 1-800-RESPECT is probably one of the biggest. It's a 24-hour hotline. If you are feeling like you're in an abusive relationship, certainly reach out.
Cool.
That's one place to start. Otherwise, there's a number of community resources. The Orange Door, Safe Steps.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you very much for answering those questions. And another question before we go. Do you think controlling behavior leads to domestic violence in our society today?
Certainly can do. I think Rose touched on it before with your ex-partner. It's when you start to address and you start to call them out on behaviour. If you are with, that's when it can escalate into violence.
Yeah.
And you know, it can start off as being very subtle, coercive, controlling behaviours to, you know, unless you don't, if you don't go along with that and you just tolerate it, if you start to address it and the defences start to come out, that's when they can certainly escalate. And, you know, statistics show that when the element of control is taken away by a perpetrator of domestic violence, that's when people are at their most vulnerable.
Yeah. Susie, okay, where does the controlling behavior originate from?
So usually it has, or almost all of the time, it comes down to a person's childhood experiences, how they were modelled behaviour by their own adults in their lives who they look up to for relationships, and or how they were treated as children at their most vulnerable by parents or caregivers. You know, if they weren't safe, their voices weren't heard, you know, they felt unsafe as a child, not protected. I think that can certainly manifest as an unhealthy adult who becomes a perpetrator, who becomes, you know, controlling and abusive themselves to partners and to children, their own children. Not always, but it's certainly, if it goes unaddressed. You know, again, Rose and I were just talking about, you know, not all childhood experiences manifest into dysfunction. I think that if you are aware of it and you seek help, you heal from your past experiences, then yes, you're certainly most capable of being a functioning, healthy adult.
Well, look, I think that, yes, I agree with Susie probably in part. I think that nature and nurture do play a big role in controlling behaviours. You know, you see some people that have lived quite a really good life, wealthy life, and turn into be controlling people. You know, they can be the wealthiest of people that have had the best life possible. You know, that can turn into that. You know, you also can see. Sorry, Susie.
No, I was just going to say, just on that, Rose, it's not always what it looks like from the outside. I know many are, you know, middle upper class families who, you know, had everything provided, private schools, you know, all of the above, but they had controlling, narcissistic, emotionally unavailable parents. Again, that's their caregiver, that's their role model in their life. That's still abuse. That's emotional abuse that they've perhaps experienced as children and growing up, where they've developed, you know, that controlling part of their personalities, characters.
Yeah, look, I don't know, because I have known people that have grown up that have had very good lives, like, you know, have turned to drugs, and I think drugs can play a big part in controlling behaviours, breaking down relationships, that as well. And in saying that, you know, like I have known parents that have brought up their children like to the best of their ability, that have turned out to be, wow, you know, you think, oh, is that your child? You know, is that? So I really do believe that both of them, like nature and nurture, definitely play a big part.
Could probably throw mental health in there as well. Obviously, if there's some sort of neurological, you know, condition or developmental condition,
something else.
Brain chemistry is, you know, a huge factor as well.
Thank you, viewer, for watching. I think you guys have a great time, and thank you for coming, Susie. You answer all most questions that we ask, and we are so happy with having you here today. Hopefully, we have you here again. So our next topic, which is our next episode, will be a youth crime in our society. You know, like please stay tuned. It's going to be massive. You know, you guys is going to have a great thing. Thank you very much for watching. Do not forget to follow us on our YouTube and our Facebook and TikTok. Thank you very much for watching. We'll catch up with you guys soon. See you back.
Thank you.
Woohoo!